Good day there, once again viewers, this is your mate Kamikaze78 here, come to you guys with some more Planetside 2 content. So guys, once again we are returning to the Was It Worth It series of weapon reviews, where we take a look at the directive weapons awarded for completing the mastery level of weapon directive trees. Today we turn our focus to the Gauss Prime Directive Assault Rifle, available to the combat medic for the new conglomerate. For this video, we will be taking a look at the statistics of the weapon in comparison to its standard cousin, the NC1 Gauss rifle, as well as discussing how the weapon behaves and what it brings to the table to answer the question of, is this weapon worth it? And to get started on answering this question without any further ado, let's dive into the statistics of the shiny rifle to piece together how this rifle is built up from the ground up. So kickstarting our numerical journey into this weapon's stats, we have the damage profile, which is a common pull maximum damage of 167 at the 10 meter range, but a slightly changing minimum damage value of 143 occurring at 75 meters for the Gauss rifle and 95 meters for the Gauss Prime. Now with that in mind, it therefore requires the users of both these weapons to land 6 shots within the 10 meter range to score a kill, and 7 shots to score a kill out of the 75 meter range or 95 meter range respectively. Now, when we take the common pull rate of fire of 600 rounds per minute, or 10 rounds per second to be more exact, and combine with all the factors currently in play, we can come to a highly theoretical time to kill of 0.5 seconds at the 10 meter mark and 0.6 seconds at the 75 meter mark for the Gauss rifle and the 95 meter mark for the Gauss Prime. Now keep in mind that this is an extremely theoretical time to kill that doesn't take the variables of damage multipliers, accuracy, or muzzle velocity into the equation, so results may vary in this case. And speaking of variables such as accuracy, let's take a look at the recoil pattern of this weapon in comparison to its standard cousin, the Gauss rifle. The Gauss Prime comes with a fairly mild pull upwards, coming in at 2.285 degrees per shot, which is in fact very inviting in comparison to the standard Gauss rifle's 3 degrees upward kick, with both weapons coming with a first shot multiplier of 2.15 times every time the rifle initiates a burst. Now, both these rifles come with an equal horizontal directional influence, being a left-hand side influence with a severity ranging from 23 to 25 degrees per shot. On top of this, the Gauss Prime comes with a horizontal shake of 0.14 degrees per shot, and the Gauss rifle comes with a 0.175 degrees horizontal shake per shot. To explain this further, essentially, the horizontal shake gives the weapon the ability to further move horizontally on top of the predetermined recoil angle, meaning that the Gauss Prime comes with a mild vertical kick that will be influenced leftwards with some prominent recoil shake left and right per shot randomly. Finally, moving down to our ammo related statistics, both of these weapons have identical properties across the board, with a 30 round magazine and 150 rounds in the reserve, taking the user 1.95 seconds for a short reload and 2.6 seconds for a long reload. And finally, wrapping up these weapons as a common pull muzzle velocity of 650 meters per second. So, in order to acquire the Gauss Prime for your own personal use, you're going to have to make your way through Araxiuming 5 assault rifles on the combat medic, which realistically should cost you anywhere up to 5k plus certs. That is a fairly massive cost, on top of the required grind to score at least 5,000 kills with those guns. So, based off of this tremendous task to unlock the weapon, we must ask, is the Gauss Prime worth it? Well, to answer this question, let's ask one in return ourselves. What does the Gauss Prime actually accomplish in comparison to the Gauss rifle? And to quickly clarify what I mean by this, to unlock these directive weapons, you have to purchase 5 previous weapons of the same weapon class. To build on this, you have to go through 5,000 kills worth of Araxiuming these guns in order to even have a chance at unlocking the directive weapons. Not to mention that these guns that you have to Araxium may just not suit your playstyle, or you may not like them, but you still have to grind through them in order to unlock these directive weapons. So when we take a look at the question of was it worth it, we simply can't look at the monetary value, because the grinding value is there too. The time spent to get to the weapon is also a value in this question. And considering that most of these directive weapons are based off of their default weapon cousins, so the Gauss Prime is based off the Gauss rifle, the God Saw is based off of the Gauss Saw, the Beetlejuice is based off of the Orion, we simply can't look at the general effectiveness of a weapon because these directive weapons may be based off of their default brothers. But in all seriousness, what is the point of grinding through 5,000 kills worth of Araxiums only to get a shinier version of an already effective weapon platform? These weapons have to have some sort of quirk and interesting factor to them to make them worth the grind, because if they don't, then they're simply carbon copies, and a carbon copy gun, no matter how effective it is based off of its default brother, it simply isn't worth the 5,000 kill grind. Anyway, focusing once again on the Gauss Prime itself. So far, referencing the statistics of the weapon that we have previously discussed, there is a further bias towards long-range combat with this weapon, thanks to the addition of a longer minimum damage range and a lighter recoil across the board to make it more controllable and damaging over sustained fire at longer ranges. But let's be frank, just how noticeable are these changes? Like, really, just how noticeable are they? And unfortunately, not very. The Gauss Prime is a prime example, yes, pun intended, of a directive weapon that has received the carbon copy formula to make it a safely balanced weapon to match in with the current arsenal of weapons in the game. Not only is this just a boring practice to follow, but it simply cannot be applied with any justification to a directive weapon that requires you to score 5,000 kills on a mix of weapons to unlock it. That's like saying, oh, you spent this much time grinding your way to this point, that's cool, here, have this reward that is essentially a direct copy of a weapon that you've owned since day one for free. Okay, thanks, bye! Okay, sorry, that was a bit of a rant there, but as you can probably tell, I'm a very disappointed man when it comes to the turnout of this gun, and personally, I regret grinding my way to it at the rate in which I did. First of all, the damage boost at range is such a minimal change to the point where you are simply not going to notice it by comparison of the standard Gauss rifle. Anywhere beyond the 10 meter mark is going to see you need to land 7 shots to score a kill on the body, with the added 20 meters to the minimum range simply giving you a tad bit more breathing room when it comes to scoring headshots to tip the bullets to kill count down by 1 or 2. Now I have to admit, this ability to tip the odds in your favor with the extended minimum damage in combination with the lessened intensity of the recoil does work nicely in helping your long-range capabilities with this gun. But with these directive weapons, as I've said before, it is more about what do these weapons give you in return for your hours spent trying to unlock them, not whether or not they are effective or no. The Gauss Prime is based off of an effective Gauss rifle design, coming with many similarities to a weapon platform that I enjoy using and think is one of the best assault rifles in the game. Trust me, you give me a Gauss rifle any day and I will be a happy man. But because of these similarities, it just doesn't justify the time spent to unlock the Gauss Prime when you can simply stick with the already competitive Gauss rifle. So, all in all, to answer the question of is the Gauss Prime worth it, I would have to come out and say no, it is not, which is a huge shame for me. I am pretty sure that is the first directive weapon to this date where I have simply come to the conclusion that the weapon is just not worth the grind at all. But there is just not enough going for this rifle to make it worth your time. Seriously, you'd be better off sticking with the one rifle that you've owned since day one for free. Seriously, don't make the same mistake I did of focusing to unlock this rifle by grinding out my assault rifle kills, all the while forgetting that I was a combat medic and therefore had other duties beyond shooting people in the face. Yeah, my teammates or my outfit mates weren't happy with me at all for that time period during my grind. Anyway guys, that is going to bring us to the conclusion of today's Was It Worth It episode. In the comment section down below, I want to see your opinions on this Gauss Prime rifle if you have unlocked it. And if you haven't unlocked the Gauss Prime, I want to hear your opinions on directive weapons as a whole in the comment section down below. Do you think directive weapons should simply be carbon copies of already effective guns with a couple of very minute changes to ensure that balance isn't thrown completely out of whack? Or do you want to see more exciting directive weapons added to the game with interesting mechanics? Where do you determine a directive weapon being worth your time? I'd really like to hear your opinions on this, guys, because I've stated mine quite clearly here today out of pure rage. much in reaction to this weapon, more specifically the Gauss Prime, but I'd love to hear your opinions. And if you went on to enjoy today's video, guys, then please feel free to backhand that like button. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you're new here and you're potentially backhanding that like button, then why don't you go around backhanding the subscribe button while you're at it, guys? It would be immensely appreciated. And once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.